The question 4 is about double angle and half angle identities. This is an interesting question because you can't solve the double angle easily in calculator, the sine 2 theta, cos 2 theta. But the half angle, you can try with the calculator, you tend to get the wrong answers as well because here it involves the square root and stuff. So we need to use the formula. I will solve this problem because I will just go with the shortcuts. Here, I will show you the sine 2 theta and cos 2 theta by calculator in a minute, but I will first do the solving of sine theta by 2 and cos theta by 2. Yeah, this plays an important role, the theta thing. If it is 2 theta, then what happens? You multiply both the sides by 2. Here then we will have 0, 2 times 0 is 0, less than or less than, sorry, 2 theta less than 180. So this is the condition of theta for these two double angles. But for half angle, it will just be divided by 2 throughout. So this will be 45 degrees. Here this is the conditions. How we solve is we require cosine. If over here cos theta was directly given, then you don't need to solve. You can directly use the half angle identity formulas and solve it up. But here first, step 1 would be using the Pythagoras theorem, that is 1 equals sine squared theta plus cos squared theta, and then solve it up. 1, substitute what we know. Sine is 1 by 4 the whole square plus cos squared theta. Now here you can take this to the other side, it will be 1 minus, now square, both the sides will be 4 squared is 16 equals cos squared theta. This will be 16 by 16, it will be 15 by 16. So 15 by 16 equals cos squared theta. You can take the square root on both the sides and you will get plus or minus root 15 by 4 equals cos theta. But since it's in the first quadrant, I don't need to bother about this. The sign is going to be plus here. Cos theta will be plus. Why? Because in the first quadrant, everything is positive. Now then, cos theta is found out. You can try solving sine theta by 2 and cos theta by 2. This because I'll show you in calculator, we don't need to worry about these formulas. Or there are a set of formulas, you can substitute and solve it. Now, what about theta by 2 and theta by 2 over here? The formulas are sine theta by 2 equals, it's always plus or minus because square root is there. It's 1 cos theta divided by 2. I'll write even this formula, cos theta by 2. I will complete this in a while. Is equal to, again, square root, this is plus or minus 1 cos theta divided by 2. See, how I remember is if it's cos and cos, then it's positive. It's a good thing. But if it's cos and sine and cos, it's a minus. This is how I remember the formula. It always sticks in my mind like this. Now all you do is substitute the values. Sine theta by 2 will be root of 1 minus, what is cos theta? It is square root 15 divided by 4 divided by 2. Whereas cos theta by 2 will be square root of 1 plus root 15 divided by 4, the whole thing by 2. So we have sine theta by 2 equals, put it in the calculator, you will get the answer. And cos theta by 2 equals this thing. Sorry, not the square root. This is the answer. But now, what is the condition over here? What is the theta condition? For half angle, theta is 0, greater than 0, but less than 45 degrees. That's the first quadrant. So there is no problem at all in this. Now we will use our calculators and solve this up. Here, be careful when you substitute in the calculator. Put the square root symbol and then the symbol, fraction symbol, 1 minus, again put a fraction symbol, square root 15 divided by 4 divided by 2. Now press equal to, you're getting this answer. Okay, there's a problem now. I mean, it's not a problem or anything. Write the answer, sine theta by 2 is 0.126 and 00. Over here, I will just change the sign and I will find it for cos theta by 2. It is 0.992. Now, these are the answers, 0.992. It's both positive itself because we got the condition in the first quadrant itself. Now, I'm 100% sure that your answers will be not like this. I mean, not 100%. Generally, your options answer won't be like this. They will be in terms of square root and all that. Let's quickly look into the answers. See, these are your answers. They are in terms of, see, huge, gigantic values. But how would you do that is, how would you check your correct options are is, use your calculator and solve this up. Now here I have written both these answers. Now let's put these in the calculator. Use the fraction symbol, square root 8 minus 2, again square root 15 divided by 4. The third value is sine 2 theta. What is the answer? Press equal to, it matches. It's the exact value which we got. Now we just change the plus sign to plus, and what do we get? It'll be 0.992, and that's the cos theta value, theta by 2. So this is how we can do it. Now, I think so sometimes the calculator method works even for this, but it's not for all problems. So that's why I'm showing you this method. Please remember this formula, only two formulas, and solve it up. Now, what about the first two? I told you there's a calculator method, right? It's better we clear the calculator every now and then. Now, first thing what you need to remember is don't use degree mode. These are trigonometric functions. Shift mode and use 4. This is now in radian mode. So I can directly substitute these values. These are all in radians, okay? This is given sine theta is 1/4. Let me find what is theta. So how do you find theta? Theta would be, take sine to the other side, it will be sine inverse of 1/4. So theta can be solved now in the calculator. Press shift and sine, you'll get sine inverse. 1/4 is 0.25, or I'll just write it as it is. And what's the answer? 0.25268. Yeah, I'll just write it 0.25268. Please write at least 4 to 5 digits after the decimal point. And now, here the best way would be, this is saved as the answer. Now, if I press answer, the theta value is saved. If I use this, I'll generally get the correct form. Now, this is theta, right? I will just put sine 2 into theta. That's the answer. What am I getting? Okay, I'm not getting it in the general form. Anyways, not in the exact form. So what I'm getting is 0.484. If I solve this, I must get that. Let me try it. Root 15 by divided by 8 is 0.481. So the same thing. Now what about 7 by 8? 7 by 8 is nearly 0.8587, I guess. Yeah, 875. Now we will do the same thing with cos. This is cos theta 2, the answer. Now what we will do is we will do cos 2 into theta value we just now found out, right? 25268. And okay, now we are not getting the exact value because we are not taken the entire values of theta, right? But it's almost correct. But if you had found out sine inverse 0.25, the theta value, the exact theta value, and now if I do cos 2 into answer, this is the exact theta value, I'm getting the exact value. Sometimes you'll get it like this, sometimes you'll get it as a decimal. Please compare the answers with the options. So for the first two, that is sine 2 theta and cos 2 theta, you can use the calculator easily, whereas for sine 2 theta and cos 2 theta, you cannot. Okay, let us try the second one as well. For the first two, what I would do is first find the sine inverse value. It is 4 divided by 5. The answer is 0.92729. It's better you write it down because we need many digits after decimal. 277295. And now what I will do is I'll just put it as sine 2 into answer. It's in radian mode, so I don't need to worry about it. I get 24 by 25. Now I'll tell you how to do the sine in a minute. This is the answer. Now write it down. We know it's 24 by 25. And what about the cos 2 theta? So just put cos 2 into 0.927295. And it is negative 0.2799, and it's negative 0.28. Okay, so let's try this. 7 by 25, it's minus, it's 0.28. Yeah, that's the answer. See, these are the correct answers. But here you should do the formula method. But now, how do I know which is positive, which is negative? Here we have been given the theta, right? So let's multiply both the sides by 2. So what do we get? 180 degrees theta less than 280 becomes 360 degrees. Now, is sine positive from 180 to 360? No, sine is positive only at what? 0 to 180 degrees. This is beyond the sine, so that's why it's negative. Now for cos theta, cos 2 theta, do you think we have to do the same thing? Is it from 180 to 360 degrees? No. Here, whatever the answer you get is the correct answer. In the calculator, the sign is not at all impacted by this. I will explain why, because this is a bit confusing, right? For sine 2 theta, we use this. If you know the formulas, sine 2 theta is given by 2 sine theta times cos theta. Whereas cos 2 theta formulas are either cos square minus 1, cos square plus. Every time there is square involved, whenever square is involved, even if it was negative angle, it becomes positive. It doesn't matter the sign over there. Whatever the answer you get in calculator is your answer. But for this, the issue is we have to take based on the quadrants, right? So here when we solve this up, we put the proper formulas, put the values, and then the sign matters based on the theta. Whereas for other one, it really doesn't matter because we take cos theta, cos square theta or sine square theta. So even if we take based on this negative or positive based on the quadrants, if you put say minus 1, it will be squared and it's going to be positive one only. Whereas these last two we have to do according to the formula which was shown, and then look for the angle. Over here what you need to do is divide both the sides by 2. So what is the theta you get? Theta by 2 will be this much. It's in the first quadrant, so both will be positive. This is pretty simple. Doesn't matter what, they'll give you in quadrant, and this, when you divide by 2, it will be in single quadrant itself. So easily you can tell which is the sign. Now this one, we need the sign because it's square root. It's either plus or minus. So we have to follow the quadrant. Only for cos theta, you have to just take whatever you get in the calculator. We got minus itself in the calculator, so that's the answer. For the sine, you might get minus, you might get plus, anything, but based on the theta over here, multiply both the sides by 2 and take the answer. I'll do this one as well over here. Now this is cos theta. This is the answer. Let's take our calculator. I've just typed cos inverse of negative 5 by 13. And here, what is the answer? 1.9655. Let me write out the theta here. It's 1.965587. Now then, once we get theta, we can find sine 2 times the answer, that's theta is already saved. Sorry, this one. And here we get negative 120 by 169. Let's look at the answer. But here, even if it's positive, we need to double check. Now this is the same thing, but you have to double check. But let's look at the cos theta now, cos 2 theta. I will just put cos 2 times the theta value is 1.965587. Here we get negative 0.704. You can see the sign should match. Whatever is this sign, here only. If it was plus, you just put plus. This is equivalent to this. I will just show you 119 divided by 169 gives you the same answer as 0.704. We just know. We also got 704.704. That's the thing. And these you have to use the formula and solve it up. Same formula, straightforward. Now, what about the angle over here, the theta? Limits of intervals of theta is pi and pi by 2. For sine 2 theta, you need to multiply both the sides by 2. So it will be pi, theta will be 2 pi. Now here it's always negative, it's not positive at all. Whereas for theta by 2, you just divide this by 2, it will be pi by 4 less than theta by 2. It's only less than, sorry, and it is pi by 2. Pi by 4 is 45 degrees, and over here we have 90 degrees. This is both the sides, both the sine and cos will be positive because it's in the first quadrant. That is how we do it. Now here we have an entire explanation of a problem. You can just go through it for sine 2 theta, cos 2 theta, and half angle identities as well. Here, please go through this. The presentation is in the link in the description. You can just click on the link and download the presentation. So this is how we basically solve. See, you have to use the formula, and you can see over here there is plus or minus. And let me just go back to the double angle identity here. See, this quadrant is important here. Why? Because we are using sine theta, cos theta. That's why. Whereas for this one, you are squaring. The formula will be squared up. So you take it as positive or negative. Now over here, cos theta is positive in this quadrant. We take positive. But even if it was minus, you square it so the negative is gone. So you don't need it. Here, this is for half angle identity. You can easily do the same thing, divide both the sides by 2. And over here, we can see theta by 2 is in the quadrant 2. So for sine, it is positive, whereas cos, it's negative. Because second quadrant, now when you divide this by 2, what's the angle? 3/4 pi, that is, and 2 pi. Okay, pi is 180. It's less than pi, so it is in the second quadrant, yes. But sine is positive in the second quadrant, whereas cos is negative. Cos is only positive in first and the fourth, right? So this answer, whatever answer, you just take positive, whereas the second answer over here, you just consider it to be negative. So that's the answer. Okay, these whatever this one whatever you get in the calculator, and this one we need to look into the theta interval. So you can try them by yourselves. Okay, now we have a tan problem. So I will solve this one over here. We know what is tan theta, right? Tan theta is opposite by adjacent. We need to use this relationship. Now, if this is opposite by an adjacent, what is this over here? 8 by 15. Negative sign represents the quadrant. The quadrant is the second quadrant. Over here, second quadrant tan is negative. That's why it's minus. Now, opposite side is given. Adjacent side is given. What is the hypotenuse? Now imagine this is 90 degree, this is theta. Opposite side over here is 8, adjacent side over here is 15. What is the hypotenuse? You can easily find it by the square root of 15 square minus 8 square. So when you solve this up in the calculator, you get the answer for the hypotenuse. Here I've just typed it out, and the answer over here is root of 161. Now that's the hypotenuse, HYP. It's square root 161. Now we can easily find out what is cos, right? Cos theta is adjacent by square root of hypotenuse, that is square root of 161. The adjacent side was 15 divided by square root 161. Now when you're using cosine, please remember it's minus. Why? Because in the second quadrant cosine is negative, but sine is positive. Now from this cos theta, we find the half angle identities sine and cos. But what about sine 2 theta and cos 2 theta? Here what we will do is we'll just use the theta directly. See, tan inverse of minus 8 by 15, and find the theta. Theta is negative for this much. Just put cos 2 into the answer. That is the answer. Let's look over here. That's the answer. Same thing again. If you put the theta, I will do tan inverse negative 8 divided by 15. Its answer. Sine 2 times the answer, because the theta value is saved. That is over here. But now please be sure to check the theta value, okay, whether it's positive or negative. Since this is 90, it will be 180 degrees, and this will be 360 degrees. Now again, this falls in the third and fourth quadrant. Is sine positive or negative in third and fourth quadrant? It's minus, so therefore we have minus, whereas over here we directly got it as plus. But what about the half angle? Let's just divide this by 2, divide this by 2, it will be 45 to 90. So both should be plus and plus. But this cos theta, why I did this? To find the half angle, because we had used the formula we initially did, right? Using the square root formula. That's why. That's how we can easily solve it up. Even over here, do the same thing. Please remember, tan is opposite by adjacent. Write it out, find the hypotenuse, and then solve it up. For the first two, if the question is only for double angle identity, do it in the calculator easily. Please do try these questions as well. They're pretty straightforward, just like what we have done, only the values are changing. All the solutions are available over here. After you solve it, check for the solutions. So that's the end of this topic. If you have any doubts, please post them in the comments. Just be careful with the theta value. The first two double angles can be done in calculator, whereas half angle needs to be solved by the formulas.